welcome to another episode of the Mojo Hour Show. My name is Pamela Sylvan, the Mojo Maker, and I am thrilled that you're joining me for another 30 minutes plus another 30 for those that are with me live to really mix things up. I am someone that unleashes icons into the world. What does that mean? Well, I take those that have the gravitas and the chutzpah and the presence to lead large groups of people, but they just need a little bit of training around poise, presence, and communication, and I'm that person. So I'm thrilled to be sharing some of my trainings and confidence bits and pieces with you today. But before we dive into this week's topics around alpha females, I want to give an honored shout out to my background coordinator. I'm now calling her my background coordinator, prolific abstract artist, Carolyn Sadowska of Victoria, BC. Every time you come to my show now, aren't you not noticing the work of art going on back here? And this is a new one for this week. I think it's called Promises in Action. I think, Carolyn, am I right? I'm sure I got that right. But whatever it is called, it's beautifully promising. And I have to tell you, when you walk into my space, it just grabs you. Anybody that needs to work with amazing pieces of work like this and color and composition around abstract pieces need to get in touch with Carolyn, because you can build your space around that one piece. Get rid of all your stuff and start over with that one piece. So I'm going to connect Carolyn's information in everywhere that I share this episode, so you can go and look at other pieces of work that she's done. She's just brilliant. And Carolyn, again, thank you for providing me with this love and light in this particular fashion. So let's move on to today's topic, which is the 5 power habits of alpha females. Now, before we go on to the 5 habits, you might be wondering, well, Pamela, what are alpha females? What do you mean by that? I heard of alpha males and things like that, but alpha females, I'm not quite sure about. It sounds a little bit intimidating to me. They sound like females of another world, otherworldly females. Well, let me just break it down for you a little bit. You know, they do seem like otherworldly females. I remember growing up right after I graduated, I would see these women either in boardrooms or in meetings or at the head of the room, and I would always wonder, what is it about these women that grabbed your attention, made you feel safe, or just inspired awe within you? They were just standing there confident and in charge, and they knew how to take control of a situation even when things were falling apart. Now, for most of you, it sounds like your mother, doesn't it? Someone that's just taking charge when all hell is breaking loose. And for most of us, we remember our mothers in that position. You know, she had a child here, she was cooking there was laundry going on, there was something going on with the husband, she had to look cute. I mean, there was just so much going on. So to me, the first alpha female in my life was my mother. In part, she epitomized what it is that I was looking to surround myself with. Now, in the business world, when I went out there and I saw other women who had gone to higher heights and accomplished things that I wasn't necessarily trying to emulate, but there was something about them. It was that it quality. There was an essence about them that for some reason I couldn't quite put my finger on. So what did I do? I made a study of it. Like I do most things. If I can't figure out or get the answer, I track it down. So in my mentoring business, I've tracked down years of work that women come to me at a certain level in their life. Either they have passed a certain age and they want to now get on with things because they recognize time is of the essence, or they're climbing their corporate ladder and recognize that as much as they know there's more to the essence of who they are and they need some work and study around that and some accountability about that, or women who just want to have more confidence and courage to meet life head on in certain situations. So that's where I come in, and I bring my bag of tools to help them unleash that power within. And I first of all want to talk about these particular women in a particular way. First of all, even though we see them in a particular light and they're moving and they're shaking and they're doing their thing, their life is not an easy road to walk. One, because they're female. The characteristics of these women, the boldness, the confidence, the ambition, we attribute more so to men out there. We see men in corporate leadership positions, and we would attribute these traits to those types of people who are leading the pack, leading the way, making the big decisions, making the multi-billion dollar decisions. We don't attribute those positions to women, but things have changed out there, and women are making those strides. They are in those positions, not as much as we would like them to, but the ones that are there and the ones below them are these types of special human beings. I wouldn't say goddess like, but I'm going to say goddess like because to me they seem this way. And here's the thing, folks, I now attribute myself as an alpha female. After years of study, I thought, you know what, I'm not going to study this anymore. I'm just going to be that person. And it's just a decision, really. What is it that I wanted to become? I created a mold for myself. I chose a hero out there. I saw her in a movie. She became my mentor. And anytime I needed a little bit of refresher as to what I needed to do next or what was going on with me, I put the movie on. And there she was. And all of a sudden I seemed to grow a couple of inches taller, shoulders back, and I embodied that character. So I always tell people to please find that person and let them mentor you. They may never see or know about you. And that doesn't matter. You can mentor from afar in a lot of cases. And in a lot of cases, I've had mentors that were directly in front of me, and we speak all the time. And I had mentors like I did with the Jodie Foster character in Inside Man. And when I saw her, I knew without a doubt there wasn't even a second thought about this. It's like, yes, finally, I found the archetype of who I was supposed to be, what my mission was, and how I was supposed to show up, right down to the shoes this girl had it going on. So it was so simple for me to follow because there she was. For some women, it might take a long time to discover. And even if they find that archetype, it's about giving themselves permission, finding the courage to step into the role. Now, even though that Jodie Foster character in that movie did what she did, I'm going to do it my way, the Pamela way, the Mojo Maker way. I'm bringing my particular X factor to that mold. So the person coming behind me will say, oh, I want to be like Pamela, but they're going to be like that their way if they so choose, right? That's what really great mentors provide for you, a framework to follow, but to pour yourself and your gifts and your heart into it. Okay, it shouldn't be a carbon copy. And if it is, somebody did something wrong somewhere. All right, so let's dive into the 5 traits and we'll pull them apart to every, to just sort of dive in a little bit because we don't have a whole lot of time, but we'll do the best we can today, okay? Now, I'm going to hold the last one up to the front because I think it's important. This is important for me because this is how I learned how to do a lot of this. All right, an alpha female never stops learning. I'll tell you a little story about that. I had the wonderful opportunity to do a talk in a huge corporation. They're a multinational global corporation. And I had the good fortune to do a talk for Mental Health Week. The women who work in this company, in this location here where I live, they, to me, I couldn't find more high achieving people if I tried. It was surreal. These types of women. I mean, yes, they're intelligent. Yes, they had their academic papers for them and with them and put on the wall just like doctors and lawyers and things. But there was something about them. They all, in essence, seemed to be carbon copies of themselves. But there was something more. And here's what it was. During one of the aside times, one of the women and I, we stood to the side and we were talking really briefly. And she said, what are you reading? And I said, oh, right in my ballpark, because I have on my Kindle, my mobile Kindle, about 300 books that I'm always diving in and out of all time, at all the times. And she has a book list like that too. So we opened up our Kindles and I said, you know what, based on what's happening right here, right now, did you read Kahneman, and did you read so and so? She goes, oh my gosh, no, what's that about? And I was able to tell her. And she immediately put it on her reading list. And likewise, I was able to take 2 books off her reading list to add to my reading list. And you might be thinking, well, when do you ever find time to read all of those books? We have copious amounts of time that we can read, but it's how we disseminate the time, right? You can read a couple of chapters a day, or you can watch Netflix, right? It's a choice. And this is how I do my life. This is how alpha females, and alpha males too, but we're talking females today, alpha females do it. Now, I want to add a caveat to this conversation when I'm speaking about alpha females. There are alpha females that work in the light and for the light, and there are alpha females that work on the dark side of things. And you've met those too, you've seen those too. I'm specifically talking about those in the light because that's who I work with, and that's what I ascribe to myself, right? My grandmother always said, when you have a gift or you are a person of power, you have to be responsible with it because people are watching and following. So always work on the light side of things. So I'm speaking about the alphas in the light. So alphas in the light are always learning, always reading, always looking for intelligent conversations. They don't stay where the conversation's getting kind of strange or gossipy or weird or anything like that. They're looking for things that are going to feed them, either feed their mind or feed their soul, right? And the only way that they're going to find that kind of conversation and that kind of information is to keep on top of things, always be reading. In my communities, I'm always recommending books. I mean, I can overwhelm people with books. I try not to, so I'll throw up one a week where I am so they can at least have a fighting chance to get through a couple of chapters before I put up the next one. All right? But that's the point. You can easily see those that are not diligent about their never-ending pursuit for information, knowledge, and wisdom. All right. So the next thing about these females are they don't doubt themselves. Not that they don't have fear run through them or instances of imposter syndrome, but when they make a decision, they go, right? Regardless of what's going on, they go. If they need to ask a question along the way, they have their mentors they go to and ask a question to get information, but it doesn't mean that they stop. They just might have to shift a little bit here or there, but they go. I know no matter what happens during my day, I know with absolute certainty one particular thing. I'm going to get through it. One way or the other, I'm going to get through it. How am I so certain about that? Because I've done it before. I've managed to reach this stage in my life by overcoming things just like you. You know, a lot of you are alphas and you don't even recognize it because you haven't looked at yourself that way, right? So that's why I exist, to sort of wake you up to this realization. So as alphas, we are always making quick decisions, research decisions. We're not flippant about it, but good decisions quickly, succinctly, and we go to completion, right? With a little bit of a team beside us to help us make sure that we're steady and going our way. Even the highest of the highest up there, you know, the leaders of countries, don't they have people that they go to and ask pertinent questions before they make their final decision and go all the way? Same with us. Why are you trying to do this all by yourself? We seem to think that we have to know everything and do everything and suffer and struggle our way through without our own cabinet. I have a cabinet. I'm not running a country, I'm running my life, but I make sure there are people in my life that have done the things I want to do. I can ask the questions I want to ask, that I can go to them when I'm feeling down or I've made a mistake or I've fallen down and I've failed or things are just deadened for whatever reason. I don't stop. I get on the phone, we go for coffee, whatever I need to do to connect, and I get advice. Good advice, sound advice, not just any old advice, good advice. And that's tricky. Not everyone can give you the advice you need, so be cognizant of that. Okay? So let's move on. Ambitious, yes. And ambition is not a dirty word for a woman. Women need to be ambitious. Our first ambitions in life were to get married and have children in some degree or form, wasn't it? As little girls, we were programmed to be quite ambitious about that. In my mother and grandmother's day, you went to school to look for a husband. That was your ambition, right? It wasn't to run the company. It wasn't to use that law degree or that business degree or that doctorate. It was to find a good man. So there were a lot of ambitions. Our mamas were very ambitious for us, weren't they? Now, things have changed up where we're not necessarily looking for an other. We are ambitious about our own goals. First of all, you have to have goals. Alpha females have written goals. If you were to walk up to one and ask her what her goals were, not only can she tell you what it was for the week, and next week and next month and next year, she can actually show you where it is. Most people have not written down their goals. They think they know what it is, but in all honesty, they don't. It's very wishy-washy and loose. So whatever life throws them, they accept it because there is no container. Most people live their lives like this. So setting goals, write it down. You don't have to accept them if next week you changed your mind, but at least start somewhere. Choose something, right? Hopefully they are stretch goals. Don't put things down that you can do already, you know how to do already. That's not really a goal. right? That's just a to-do list. I'm talking about goals that set your heart on fire, that actually puts a little bit of fear in your heart because you don't know how it's going to happen. A couple of shows ago, I did a series called The Prosperity Plan, and I shared with you a couple of my goals on there, and I said I want to give $500,000 to mental health awareness and to grow that in whatever form I can. And some of you probably, how is she going to give $500,000 to that? It doesn't matter how I'm going to do it. That's my goal. And $1,000,000 will go to help feed people. And another $500,000 is going to animal wildlife support and things like that. I mean, that's big money, right? Most people wouldn't see that kind of money in their lifetime. That has nothing to do with my thinking. All I know is that's what I said was happening. And this week, all of a sudden, in my inbox is an invitation for an event for women in philanthropy for mental health awareness. I'm sure I was the first one to put my money down. It's begun. Write down the vision. It's not your business about how it's supposed to unfold. Your business is to choose. It's life's business to sort that stuff out for you. Most people only choose things that they think they can do based on what happened yesterday, last month, last year, last decade. That's not dreaming. That's not visioning. Alpha females, they dream big. They dream things that would make you faint, actually. I'm dreaming things that will make most people faint. Actually, it makes my heart flutter. But I know something. It's not my business to figure it out. The way will appear as I don't doubt and I go in confidence and grace. And poise. All right. Alpha female stuff, ladies. This is learnable. And it's really about what you're choosing to think about and entertain. A lot of people around you are not entertaining these things. The minute you tell them what you're trying to do, they find a million reasons why it can't work. All right. Yes. And gentlemen, yes, men too. But either way, they'll find every single reason why it won't work for you. What they're actually saying is why it won't work for them, mainly because they just don't have the wherewithal to begin to dream. Their mechanism to dream and dream big was turned off a long time ago. It's still there, but it's latent. This is about waking up that power, waking up that mojo that allows you not only to dream, but to put it into action in a way that when people see you, this is what they're going to say. Hey, what's going on over there? That's my goal every day when people see me. Hey, what's going on over there? I don't have to say much. We don't have to run around telling people what we're up to. They see it, they feel it, they suspect it. And if they're brave enough, they'll ask you a question. All right? So, ambitious. Make it a priority. It's not a dirty word for women. Actually, we were programmed for ambition. We now just have to focus it in a different direction. All right? Self-respect, ladies. The first place to start with self-respect, I'm also going to put slash love yourself. Put yourself first. A lot of the ladies I work with, it's so difficult for them to carve out time to look after themselves and what they want to create, to spend the money, to do what they need to do, to buy the things that make them feel good and will vibrate nicely. I made a pact with myself, nothing on my body that doesn't vibrate the way that I want it to vibrate, meaning it has to be quality. It doesn't have to be uber expensive, but it has to be good quality and functional, form and function. When you see alpha females anywhere in the airport, the restaurant, wherever it is you happen to run into them, that's the first thing you're going to notice, isn't it? They're not flashy per se, but there's an air of quality about them. It's as if they were intentional about everything that they put on them, right down to their shoes and how they've done their hair. Not again, they're not flamboyant. That's a whole different conversation. One I will get into it someday, but there's an air of quality, a regal poise almost. As they walk by you, you stop. It's like, geez, what's going on with that? Right? Why? Well, that woman is just oozing that confidence that I wish I had. Did you ever sometimes tell yourself, oh, I wish I was confident like her? I'd have $1,000,000. Well, you can be. There is no reason that you can't say yes to this. All right. The only reason that you haven't is a story that someone's told you and you continue to tell yourself. Someone told me that I couldn't be all that and a bag of chips. And then one day I had to say, you know what? No, I now reject that thought. And I myself am going to rise to my occasion. and be the alpha for me. I'm not trying to be the alpha for anybody. I'm being the alpha for me. And somebody will notice and say, hey, lady, what's going on over there? And I will gladly share. And that's the other thing about alpha women. As leaders, they share, they make other people feel good about themselves. They're empathetic, not sympathetic, and they don't pity people because they expect people to do the work too because they had to. But they are empathetic. They understand the journey because they themselves had to travel through, right? But they're there. They're the first ones there. They're the first ones in the room. They're the last to leave. They return phone calls. They show up in essence. I'll put all of that in a bucket called showing up. They show up for people, but first and foremost, they show up for themselves. They stop disappointing themselves. If they're going to say the thing that they're going to do, regardless of how they feel, they're going to do it. Most people wait until they feel like doing things. Well, you'll wait for that feeling all the way to the end of your life. I never feel like going out to work out. Never. I can't remember a day where I say, oh, yay, workout time. It's 6 o'clock. Never. And I never will. So no need to kid myself about that. But I understand the promise I made to myself because I know when I'm 80 and 90 years old, I want to say, well done. You overcame yourself and look at where we are today. All right. Alpha women have a very strong sense of destiny. When they're at the front of the room or where they are, wherever you happen to meet them, you feel that from them. They're legacy builders. They're building companies. They're building institutions. They're involved in philanthropy. They're wherever they've been, they leave it better than how they met it. And that's what I'm advocating and teaching people to do. You can do it in very small, tiny ways, or you can do it globally. It doesn't matter how you do it. Yeah, Pam, well, I don't have the money. You don't need the money to start. You need an intention. The money shows up. It's funny how that works, right? When you believe it, you will see it. It's not when you see it, you believe it, right? What alpha women have is a strong sense of knowing and certainty. I'm sure I've gone past 5, and that's fine. I can go all day. But they have a strong sense of destiny, knowing, and certainty. And if they don't have it initially, they practice it, or they practice it with an other, a strong other who's there that pulls them forward, just like our parents pulled us forward to walk and to talk and to dress ourselves and to practice proper hygiene. We didn't just plop out and figure it out on our own. We had handlers, right? So align yourself to the energy of the alpha. Because now that I've reached the alpha stage, I'm going to sigma. There's another place for me to go. So I'm now studying that, right? Now is the time to start spiraling up from wherever you find yourself. And even those women that have reached those high heights, they too are always improving themselves energetically and mentally. It's about how do you improve and fine tune your energetic signal and resonance so people come to you and find you. They don't even know why, right? We're so busy trying to push ourselves on people. No, what happens there? People run the other way. It's physics. So become a force where people are curious about you. There's a little bit of a mystery about you, right? You don't spill your entire life out there like people are tending to do right now because they think that will get them followers. It does. It might, people might share it around. Oh, look at that person doing that. But there's no respect there, really. If you're able to really drill down to it, there's no self-respect there. They're just forces of entertainment. I don't see myself or hold myself in that place. I'm not for your entertainment. I'm for your learning pleasure. Sure. We can have fun together. Of course. But I'm not doing buffoonery to get you to press the like button because that's really not the currency that interests me. I'm about value and interesting ideas and building with people and collaboration. So alphas are all about collaboration. It's not competition. The people down below are all about competition. They can't understand what the alphas are doing. They're building businesses together, right? Because they have a strong sense of internal sense of value and worth. They don't need to compete against each other anymore. And I'm talking about the ones of light, not the ones of dark. All right? There's a difference. But the ones of light will say, hey, I know who I can hook you up with. Let's get on a call together. or I have something for you, or let's do a business together, or let's hook up together, right? The ones down here I call in the muddy pond, climbing over each other like in Dante's Outer Circle. They will never get it. And when you feel that from people, the only thing I would caution you to do is slowly back away and disappear stage left, because you don't have time to be mixed up in that, trying to untangle that mess. Because when people tell you who they are, believe them. So, as an alpha in training, even for the alphas that I'm speaking to right now, you're always in training. Okay? You're always looking to spiral up to the next level. This is what this conversation is about, wherever it happens to find you, whenever it happens to find you. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we have no choice. That's our calling. So, the time is now nigh. So I still want to do my, you know, my hot mojo tip. I'm all about my hot mojo tips. Okay. It says, your work is to discover your work, and then with all your heart to give yourself to it. Buddha. Okay, discover your value, your worth, your work, and pour yourself into it, regardless of what's going on to the left or right. Let popular opinions stay over there. You have work to do. Okay? And with that, as always, with my heart and all that I do and all the energy I bring to what it is I do, I bid you a wonderful week and, of course, always continue to spiral up.